everyone, it's Vera from Veriepear and welcome to another papercraft tutorial. We have just released a new digital kit to make this beautiful butterfly specimen booklet, and that is exactly what we're going to make today. It has a butterfly closure, and when you open it you immediately see the stars of this project, which are these two butterflies in these specimen boxes. Each has a label with their scientific name on it as well, and then on the left we have 3 waterfall pockets, and each has a card with a butterfly and a description of that butterfly on the back. And to make sure that these pockets stay in place, we've added a closure, and then below that we have a mini envelope with a postcard in it. And then finally on the right panel we have a pocket with a mini notebook. I think it's a fun project which requires some patience here and there, but if you take your time, the end result is gonna be worth it, I think. And if you want to craft along with me, you can find a link to the digital kit that you need to make this booklet in the description box down below. So without further ado, let's start crafting. So this kit comes with 8 printable pages. I've printed all sheets on 180 grams matte photo paper, which will make for a very nice and sturdy booklet. Now there's also in this kit 2 options for backing papers, but you really only have one sheet which you might want to print on the back of the backing paper, which is this one, the mini notebook. And that is because you will probably see the back of these pieces. So it would be nice if you can print on some backing paper. I've chosen this option for the backing paper, which is actually a pattern which you can also see on the outside panel, so it will match very nicely. But the other option is also very nice because you can see it throughout the kit. So for example, these pieces for the envelope or these labels and buttons, so that will also match very nicely. So yeah, just choose whatever backing paper you like most. So the first step is to cut out all pieces and score them as well. So most pieces are pretty straightforward on how to cut and fold them, but there are some more fiddly bits. So for example, we have this box here, and you can see that there are all these dashed lines, which can look kind of confusing, but don't worry, I will show you in detail how to score this piece and fold it as well. And then we also have these butterflies. So as you can hopefully see, I've left these antennae of the butterfly on here. And I know that these will probably be quite difficult to cut out, but I've chosen to leave them on here so you at least have the option to try to cut these out. You might want to use like a little knife to get that right. But don't worry if they end up falling off, ripping off, or if you just don't even want to try. That's all fine. It will still look very good without the antennae. So I'm gonna give it a shot to cut it out nicely, but we'll see if I'll manage. And you really want to try to take your time for this and enjoy it as well, because in the end your booklet will look the best when you put in a lot of patience, and yeah, just try to be as precise as you can. So I've cut out almost all pieces. The only ones that I haven't cut out yet are the optional backs for the butterflies and these extra buttons, which are also optional. And I'm just going to see when we get to these steps where we actually need these pieces, whether I need these optional ones as well, and then I can always cut them out at a later point. And I actually managed to cut out the antennae. Well, they're barely hanging on, but for now they're still here. But like I said, if yours have ripped off or they've disappeared, don't worry, it will be fine and it will look great. So to score the pieces, I have this wonderful scoring board, but don't worry if you don't have one. In my previous video, I still used just a ruler and something sharp like an old bank card, or if you have a bone folder like this, you can use it, or maybe an empty pen or something like that. So that works great too. This just goes a little bit faster. So for this box, you're gonna score this line right here, this line right here, and then vertically as well, there and there. And then on these sides, we have 2 more lines to score, so right there and right there. Same goes for the other side, and same goes also for this side and this side. So here and here, and here and here. And then we have these 4 little bits that stick out, and you can just score them right along this edge, right there. And same for the other box as well. For these very tiny labels of the butterflies, you need to score 3 lines, so the one below and 2 above. So now we're going to glue together the outside panel and the inside panel. so. Let's see if they match. It does. Let's glue it down. Don't worry about any white bits. We will take care of that later. There we go. I'm just taking my bone folder to go over these folds once again. And one more. Now I see some white bits here and especially here, so I think I can cut that off quite easily. And then I'm going to quickly ink the edges so you won't see any white bits anymore. But this is optional. I mean, if you don't have any ink, then don't worry about it. You can cut it off as closely as you can. So I'm now looking at the outside and I'm going to glue on the middle cover. So you actually have two options for this. You can either use this one or this one. They are both the same size, as you can see, so they both fit. But I'm going to use this one. So I'll just take some glue again and just stick it on there. And this one is just a little bit larger than the white area, so you can kind of see where to put it so that it's right in the middle. Let's see if I can get it very straight. It's always a challenge. I think that looks good. Now we're not going to glue these ones on yet. That will be for a later time. It'll become clear why I'm doing that in a bit. Now I'm going to put the booklet aside. So we're going to make these little boxes by folding them first. And we're going to fold all these flaps towards the inside. Like so. And you might want to use your bone folder again. And then we have the next fold right there, because we've already scored it. And we will fold that one to the outside. So the second fold will go towards the outside. Like so. You can kind of see now, if you pinch these together, that it's going to start to look like a little box. And then we have the final flap, and that will go like so. We will actually put some glue here and glue that down in a little bit. But first let's fold it. So that's also going to go towards the outside. All right, so we have these tiny little bits. We're folding them inside. And then we can start gluing it together. So first I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue on each little flap. Starting with these ones. And you're going to glue these. Let me see if I can show it very closely, like so. So we're going to put it behind this piece. So if we're going to look at it from this side, okay, here we have the box, and this flap has a little glue on it on the other side, and we're going to fold it like this and glue it down. Same goes for the other side. So we're going to fold it like that. So now we're really starting to see how this will look, and you really want to put it right at the edge so your box will look nice and tidy. And I'm also going to do that on the other side. Put a little glue on the tiny flaps, like so, and we're going to fold them behind the other side, like so. So now it's really starting to look like a tiny box, but we still have these flaps. We've already folded them in the right way, so it should like nicely, almost like fold itself, as if it were. So we just need to put some glue on each side, on each flap. And just glue it down. So we fold it like so. And then the final flap, you can really push it like this so that it will really stick. And that's what you're going to do on each side. Next side, put some glue on there and fold. And the final side. Now I see some white bits, so that probably means that I didn't really put the little flaps in tight enough, basically. But I'm gonna solve that with some distress ink. We can solve so much with some distress ink. All right, there we go. That's the first box done. So let's do the same thing for the other box. And I'm going to try to make this one a little bit more neat. Let's see how that goes. And that's 2 boxes finished. I think this is probably the most difficult part besides cutting out the butterflies. So it's gonna be easier from now on. Now I'm going to put the butterflies in their boxes. So what I will do is I will slightly fold the wings a little bit towards me. So you get this nice effect of the butterfly actually kind of like a 3D effect. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the butterfly's body. And I'm going to glue it down in the middle of the box as best as I can. I think that looks good. Right, so that's 1 box finished. Let's do the other. And there we go, that's 2 boxes done. No more boxes, guys, it's over. You've done it. So now we can actually stick the boxes in the folio. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the backs. Maybe it's even easier to put a little bit of glue on the white parts here. And the boxes are just a little bit bigger than the white parts, so you can kind of see where to put it. And let's see if they're in the middle and aligned. That's why I like to use a glue stick, because it gives you a little bit more space and room to wiggle around. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going in with my bone folder and putting a little pressure on each corner so that it will stick. And that's the boxes done. So let's now look at the labels. And we've already scored these. I'm covered in ink, by the way, I'm sorry. That is what happens when we're crafting. So we've already scored these, and we're going to fold each line inwards, like so. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue on the outer part. So right here on the very outer part, and right there. So we also have this space right here, but we're gonna leave that empty. And that is because then it will give a little bit of, again, like a 3D effect when we glue it down. So when it's in the middle and you're happy with that, just apply a little pressure below. And right there. Maybe you can even go in with a pen, or I'm using an awl, and put a little pressure on the inside so that it sticks there as well. Right, that looks good, I think. So the other label, again, just put a little bit of glue on the very outside parts only. And now we're going to glue it down right in between these boxes. Let's see if we can get it right in the middle. There we go. Next, we're going to look at the envelope, which goes right there on the final empty spots. And we're going to fold it inside towards the white printer paper. And we also have these inside pieces, which will go right there and right there. So you won't see any white printer paper when you open it. I'm actually going to cut off a little bit of this because you won't see it anyway, and it makes it a little bit easier with opening. And I'm going to just quickly glue it down. Like so. And then this part, like so. And then we can put a little bit of glue on the lower parts only of this flap. And then we fold this over and stick it in place. And I'm going to use a little bit of distress ink to hide any white lines. Now we have one final bit for the envelope, which is the closure, and that will go right there, but you still want to be able to open it, of course. So we're only going to glue the lower part of this piece and really only the edge, so we can close it. So I'm leaving a lot of space without glue, and then while the envelope is closed, I'm going to glue it down right in the middle, but just over the envelope so that you can open it like so. And when it's dry, you can just, you need to really kind of fold this in place, but then you can just shove it behind there and you have a little closed envelope. That is the envelope done, and we also have a little postcard to go in it. That is this piece, and you can just fold it over, glue it down, and put it in the envelope. And just using some ink again. And there we go, that is the little card that fits right in the envelope. It needs to dry first though, so let's see if I can already put it in. Yeah, I think so. That is the envelope. And we can glue it down in the booklet. But make sure when you glue it down that you really glue it right down a little bit, well, I would say rather too low than too high, because we're really going to need this space. So you don't have to put it all the way to the edge, but just a little bit above. And of course that it covers the white area. Make sure you put it right in the middle and just glue it down like so. You can hopefully see that I've only left a little bit of space right there, so we have enough space for the pockets above. We're going to put the booklets aside for now, and we're going to focus on the waterfall pockets and their cards. So we're going to have 3 pockets, each with a card and a little tab. So first we will assemble the pockets, and well, we've already scored it, so we're going to fold it over like this and fold each flap. Now we have this flap, which doesn't have any text, so we have 3 flaps in total, and 2 say glue to make pockets. Here as well, glue to make pockets, and then this one is empty. And that one we will leave empty for now. So we're just going to focus on the ones that say glue to make pockets. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to get my little ink again and ink the space that you will see here. It's just a nice touch. You won't really see it because we have a card that goes in there anyway. But yeah, if you have some ink on hand, I would just quickly ink this. So I'm going to put some glue on the flaps that say glue to make pockets. And there we have our first little pockets. And you should have this flap still left over. We're going to look at that in a bit. So we're going to do the same for the other pockets. Right, so those are the 3 pockets, all done. Moving on to the cards, we're just going to fold these and glue them together, and that's it. And I'm inking the sides again to get rid of any white pieces I see. And then we have the tabs for the cards, which you can just fold over like so. So we're going to put the tab on the left. And you want to do this carefully because you also want to still be able to read the text on the other side. So make sure that you can still read it and then glue it in place. Those are the cards done, and then we can put them in the pockets. Now we can go back to our little booklet. But before we're going to glue in these pockets, we want to put a button right there. And so we have these tiny buttons. And I'm just going to glue them back to back to make a button. And we have actually also some extra ones. So if you feel like it's not sturdy enough, you can just glue on some extra ones. So we're going to measure about 1/2 inch from the top edge, and that is where we will punch a hole, but we also want to put it in the middle, of course. So I'm just going to measure where the middle is, and it's right there. I'm going to get my little pencil, make a tiny mark, the tiniest mark, right there, just so I can see it. And then we know what the middle is. I've already kind of estimated about 1/2 inch, but let's see, maybe I was totally wrong. And let's measure 1/2 inch from the top edge, and it's right there. So I've made my little mark, and I'm going to punch a hole. And now you see why I haven't put on this cover yet, because we will put in a split pin, and yeah, of course we don't want to see that poking through on the other side, so that is why. Now I'm going to get my button and also poke a hole in the middle. Let's see what's the nicest side. I think this one. Like that. Get a little split pin. I thought I ordered mini ones, but they are definitely not that mini. But it will have to do for now. There we go. Make sure you leave a little bit of space here, because then you can close it with some ribbon or twine and open the split pen. If you don't have any split pens, or you don't have mini ones like I do, and you don't like this look, you can also get a little bit of cardboard or something that's a little bit thicker, glue on the button, and then just glue it on there, and then you still have something to put some ribbon around. Now I'm going to get my pockets. So we have this flap, and I'm just gonna lay them down for now. So fold this over, like so. And we will glue it like this later on. But first, just see how it will look. And you can also decide which pocket you would like to go first and second. Now we need some space for this button to go right there. So you see it's quite tight, so you really want to put the first pocket very close to the upper button. So I would say something like this. Let's see if that will work. So that is where the last pocket then will go. And you should have just the right amount of space for the button to go. So I think I want to put this one as my first pocket. Firstly, I'm going to ink the edge. And then I'm going to put some glue here on the white bit and glue it down very close to the above button, and also see if you can get it nice in the middle. But make sure that this doesn't stick out. So I think this looks good. Make sure it's really close to the button above. I'm not yet gonna really put some force on it, because I want to see if it will fit. So I'm gonna get my second pocket. Ooh, don't forget to ink the edge. And just put it right against the flap of the first pocket. And let's see if it's straight. That looks good. That looks great. And then the final one. Let's see. Okay, let me just check. Yeah, I think that will be fine. Maybe a little bit closer, like so. There we go. Okay, so first let's really put some pressure on the upper pockets. Moving on to the second pocket, see if it's nicely aligned. And I think that looks good. And then the final one. Just checking again. Yeah, that's going to work. Just aligning it so that it's nice and straight and that it doesn't poke out on this side. Like so. Great! Now we're going to put this button right there, and you can of course measure the middle again. I'm gonna put a little tiny mark, should be around there. And I'm gonna poke a hole in my button, right in the middle. And I'm gonna poke a hole right where my mark is. Let's see if I like the height of that first. There we go. Get a little split pin again, or use the other method. That's also totally fine. Right, there we go. Make sure you leave enough space here for some ribbon or twine. All right, and that is the pockets done. Now we can get some twine. Just cut off a piece and go around there. Tie little knots. Just cut off the excess bit and kind of put this away. So we're done with the left panel. So now we can move on to the right panel, and for that we have this little pocket which goes right there, and we have a little mini notebook. So I'm first going to glue the pocket in place. Just going to fold over these edges and put some glue on there, and you can just stick it right in the middle below. Well, you can leave a little bit of space right there. So the pocket's in place. Now moving on to the mini notebook. So we have these beautiful pages for you to write something on, and because we've printed this on the back of the backing paper, it has a beautiful back as well. And I just like to quickly put some ink on each side. So I've inked all sides of these pages, and I put them in an order that I like, so you can just choose whatever you want. Now of course this is the cover, so we're going to put that on top. You have multiple options on how to assemble this mini notebook. You can poke a hole in one of these corners, and then you can put a little split pin through, and yeah, that's one way. And you probably have to cut off a little bit of the legs of this one, unless you have mini ones, which I don't. Or if you have one of these, a little hole puncher, you can punch a hole in either one of these corners and then close it with some ribbon or twine. And I think I'm gonna go for that. So there we go. And then I get a little bit of twine, the same that I used for the closure, and just tie a little knots. Now if you don't have a hole puncher or you don't have split pins, then you can just maybe use a staple or something like that. Let's cut off the excess. And that is the little notebook done. Like so. Fits perfectly. We have this little label with the, I think the Latin name for butterflies. I hope I say that correctly. And I'm going to put it right there. And that means we're done with the inner part of the booklets. So let's move on to the outside. I'm just using a little bit of double-sided tape to go over the split pin. And then we can glue on the cover parts. And again, try to put it right in the middle, leaving a little bit of space on each side. Let's see if I'm happy with that. Yes. All right, so we have only one more panel to cover here. But before we're going to do that, we will add the closure button first, because I want to use another split pen again. So I have glued these two buttons back to back. These are the larger ones, and I'm going to poke a hole right through the middle. And again, you can reinforce this by adding one of the extra buttons. But I think it will be sturdy enough like this. Now, of course, we want to put this closure right in the middle. So I'm going to get my ruler again and just measure where the middle is. And it's about there. So I put the tiniest mark, which you can barely see, and it will be covered by the button anyway, so That should be fine. And then I'm going to see how far I want this from the edge. And I think like this would look great. So I'm just going to poke a hole and I'm going to put a split pin in like so, and make sure to leave a bit of space again. And then we're opening the split pin, tape these in place. And I think I poked this through around, yeah, around 1/2 inch from the side. So if you want to follow that, you can. And I'm gonna glue this on the outer panel. So make sure that sticks, especially this part right here. And that will look like that. Beautiful. And I got some twine again to make the closure. Tie little knots, cut off the excess, and then we can finally close it. So I'm just going to wrap it around a few times, maybe like this. There we go. I think this is a little bit too long. That's better. All right, and now we have the final finishing touch, which is optional because it makes it a little bit harder to be able to open. Because what you can do is you can get this final butterfly and again fold the wings slightly towards yourself and then just stick it on there like that. But then of course when you open it you have to be a little bit extra careful because this will, if you fold it open, this will touch the table. So let's glue this, put a tiny bit of glue on the body of the butterfly and stick it on top of your split pin. Or if you don't have a split pin, you can just put it straight on the bottom. Like so. Isn't that a lovely little detail? And that's it, we're done. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Like I said, all info on where to find the digital kits that I used to make this beautiful booklet is in the description box below. So make sure you check that out if you want to make this as well. Or if you've already made it, I hope you had a lot of fun and that your booklets turned out beautiful. I'm sure it did. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all tutorials that will be coming your way. And I hope I'll see you very soon. Bye!